Alrighty. Well, welcome everybody to the TForce LCS rundown. This is Mott Gnorum returning, bringing order to the chaos that was last week. I never even listened to it. I don't know if I want to.
Oh.
I heard there was alcohol involved, which...
There was a churro with alcohol involved.
There's a churro?
I heard Greg took his shirt off.
Guy from the main one.
Oh, no. I thought you said that there was an alcoholic churro that you guys, ate or something.
That sounds
remarkably
amazing.
similar, actually.
That sounds incredible.
That sounds probably a lot better than this actually was.
What actually happened?
Yeah.
No.
It was... I need to listen to it, or at least just remember, because it was...
Alcoholic churro that you
different.
guys, ate or something.
That sounds
remarkably
amazing.
similar.
Yes,
that is a good
That
phrase.
sounds incredible.
That sounds probably a lot... Okay, I was just checking my audio. That's why I wasn't talking. I couldn't even hear if you guys were talking.
It's cool.
Awesome. Well, welcome back, everybody. This is your host, Mott Gnorum, trying to improve his pitch range so I don't sound like a small child who lost his toy down a well. By the way, we love iTunes reviews, especially when they're maybe not 5 stars and they have constructive criticisms.
Very constructive and very unique criticisms.
Yes.
However, if you want to give us 5-star reviews,
that would probably be the best, especially since we all almost matched today.
Almost.
Mitch is the only...
I didn't get the memo.
Well, I'm mourning TSM in all black, so what's everyone else's excuse, I guess?
I'm mourning my brackets
Yeah.
and Gambit.
Well,
I don't know. I'm in a
liver.
pinstripe shirt, so I'm going to say that I'm celebrating the fact that I went 12-0 in predictions.
and that's
Yep.
Greg Credible Mushroom going
Hello.
12-0 in his predictions. Also joined by Optimus Tom.
Which is recovered from a brief stint of only playing Magic at PAX East.
You wake up in your in the morning. You're just covered in cards and regret.
No
idea what else to do.
regret, just cards.
Oh,
Little glass beads everywhere, including some places they shouldn't be.
Okay, well, that may or may not have happened.
woke up snuggling Skara.
Oh.
And Mitch Cereal Box.
How's it going, guys?
I'm never going to say that normally. It's always
shouldn't.
going to be with a little finesse there. So this week, I learned something about the crew here. I learned something about all of us. We're horribly addicted to gambling. So we all have this email group that goes back and forth, and we're talking as the playoffs begin. And I overhear / read Dom talking to Adam about his bet. We're betting mystery skins on stuff. Google Doc, and about 7 or 8 mystery skins later for me, we have a full gambling ring going on with some faithful Twitter followers. I am noticing on the stream we are getting a bit of lag. I don't know if that's on my end. That seems to be on OBS's end. That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's weird. We'll just keep going. We got audio at least. But yeah, how'd that go for everybody? Because it went terrible for me.
Well, I was only a little bit jealous of when you bought me and Adam skins back to back, and I got an amazing Longhorn Alistar skin, but
no one wants that.
Adam gets Super Galaxy Rumble.
That was the
which
best.
Made me
I bought it
so
for him
angry.
first. I bought that for him first.
He was like, I don't even play Rumble. I'm like, fuck you. I love Rumble. That was the shittiest. But in return, Karma, I got 2 for Greg, which were Grim Reaper Karthus, big thumbs up, and which is the other one? Crap. Shadow Evelyn,
which I'm loving, by the way.
So hold on, I'm looking.
I still have a few more owed to me from Mott. You owe me 2 still.
I still owe you 2 more.
Yeah.
Who else do I owe?
2 more.
Yeah. Let's see here. You go. Keep talking for a second. I'll figure it out.
Well, we're all terrible gambling addicts. Maybe we'll do this during Worlds. Something,
please. All
something
Stars.
a little fun. Yeah, oh yeah, All Stars bring in.
We'll start doing it for Challenger next week. Don't worry.
The summer split is just going to be the whole thing. I don't even want to know how much a mystery skin, what that like financial real money.
I think it's a little less than $5. A little less.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
No, it's a nice friendly wager.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That said,
Mott, the only
Adam
time
and Dom owe me skins. I think Mitch owes me another skin.
I think I'm actually squared up with you. I'll
Oh,
check.
are you?
I didn't bet on the NA side because to me it was just going to be so obvious that
It was.
I really wasn't willing to take that into consideration.
Yes, you are evened up on me. But yeah. So
Yeah.
Adam and Dom and Shu
Stay up.
owe me skins.
Mott, I like how the only time you won a bet on that was when you bet both sides of the game.
I just wanted one skin.
That's the only
that's
time
all.
you won.
That's all I wanted.
So how does it work if you owe yourself a skin because you beat yourself in a bet?
Oh no, he bet
No,
against me and against you actually.
Yeah, so
okay.
you owe me a skin.
So that's the
owe
one I
Mitch-
lost. Go figure.
Yes, that's the one you lost. And who was it? That was SK.
SK Rocket.
Yeah, you put it on
Yeah.
Rocket really against SK.
He's
You're
been
looking
talking
at the guy
Overpow
who
constantly.
sings the praises of Overpow. You think I'm gonna bet against Rocket, except for when I bet for Gambit to win the whole thing.
I like how you picked Gambit to win it all, and then
bet on
first
Rocket.
day. Well, no, but then the first day that happens, they get shut down. We have a lot to talk about with these
We have
games.
so much to
We
talk
have so
about.
much to talk about.
And it's not even all just LCS. But
And speaking of talking about it, you know where we're talking about it? We're talking about it at stream.trinityforcepodcast.com. That is the Twitch channel of /TForce Podcast. So if you're listening out there in podcast land, do not forget that we go live shortly after 9 p.m. every Sunday. We've got the Trinity Force Podcast going on Mondays and Wednesdays at 8 Eastern. And we, of course, have the Oz LOL podcast, our Australian brothers, going over on Thursdays. So check those out. Watch them. Watch us. Listen to them. Listen to us more. Because we have much more interesting things to talk about this week.
Plus, way better hosts.
True. I didn't want to say it.
But
Your
somebody
words.
had to.
Your words, not mine. But
That's fair.
there it is.
you didn't have to experience that like Greg and I did.
I almost want to say that was intentional. That was like not getting to go to PAX Angst and meet some really awesome people. PAX, by the way, was amazing. It's my third PAX, I think, and it's the second time actually as going as a podcast host. The first time I went to as a podcast host, I met one person, or actually no, it was two people. It was a group of people that I met at the same time who knew who I was. And that was really cool. I was like, wow, that was the best thing ever. And I left that day feeling awesome. And then you walk around with buttons and t-shirts and everybody knows who you are. And that's really cool. Got to meet some awesome fans, gave out tons of t-shirts, gave out tons of pins. But Optimus Tom, you were there as well.
I was. People
were
may
there.
not have seen me nearly as much, but that's
Well-
probably my fault.
I did see you, and let me tell the story of that before
Oh,
we
boy.
get into the LCS, because this highly affects me as a host for this show and my opinions and what I think about LCS players.
Oh boy.
So I'm texting Tom back and forth, and if you've ever been to any big convention, you know that trying to coordinate is nearly impossible. You just can't do it. You can't just meet up somewhere. It just doesn't happen at all. So I go and I text Tom, and I'm like, hey, Tom, where are you going to be? Bridget and I are walking around. He's like, oh, well, I'm playing Magic right now. We'll meet up later. So we do a loop through the PAX booth, or the Riot booth, which you can't do a loop through the Riot booth because it's just a solid wall of people. You kind of have to just gingerly step your way through. But we decided, all right, well, let's go head down to the Magic booth. It's a little bit more open there. There's a lot of tabletop and board gaming go on there. So let's just go see if we can go find Tom. So we go through, and I see Tom, and he's sitting there, and he's playing Magic, and I go up, and I start talking to Tom, and we're talking and everything, and we're trying to figure out, like, oh, what are you guys doing later? And he just goes, oh, well, Scar and I just got here, and we're probably going to go get food later. And Skara from Dignitas just turns around and goes, "Oh, hey, how's it going? I've seen the show." And in my mind, I was like, Skara! And I'm like, Tom is keeping it really cool because clearly he's used to being around like LCS players and people who I sit here and talk about every week. And I was having a little fanboy mental breakdown right now. But I have to, of course, be a normal person and treat him like a normal person. I did snap a picture, but with him, not like just secretly of him. But afterwards, they were like, yeah, well, all right, well, let's go get food. Oh, but that magic panel is coming up. Oh, let's just go to the magic panel. And then they left. And it dawned on me, Skara's just a guy. Skara's just a guy who wants to play Magic. He doesn't want to be Skara from Dignitas. He just wants to be the guy who goes to PAX East and plays Magic and goes to Magic panels.
The best part about that was he was not Skara from Dignitas until later that weekend. He was Skara, former player from Dignitas, who just so happened to have to play again for playoffs.
Well, then it further dawned on me that he's seen the show. So he knew who I was, which is really cool. He also knows that like 2 episodes I was saying how terrible he is and how he should retire. So he was probably like, that fucking guy. Like,
you did ask him, how does it feel to be playing Magic with the guy who doomed your career? And he just sat there and said, I hate you. That's Skara for you guys.
No, but that was really cool. It made me, I guess, sympathize for them a little bit more with this whole retirement thing and, oh, I can't take the pressure. People are making fun of me on the internet. I thought about it later. I'm like, Scar makes so much fucking money doing what I talk about as a hobby. Like, I got to go on work on Monday. He had to go into work too, and he did terrible. I love you, Skara. Let's hang out. Let's play Magic together. We could.
He should keep playing League of Legends, though, because I spanked him in Magic, so he's got no future there.
Stick with what you're good at.
Yeah. But no, that was awesome. It was really cool meeting him. I all of a sudden felt this really big sympathy for him just in the minor flood of people that I ran into and people running up to me going, Optimal Tom, Optimal Tom. And then me realizing that I didn't think through.
Which people came up and said to me, by the way, which is hilarious, and I hate you. No,
That's
because
awesome.
he gave me buttons.
That's awesome.
So they came up to me, they're like, Optimal Tom, and I was like, for fuck's sake.
You should have come to me for t-shirts. I have one left over. I have an actual Trinity Force proper t-shirt left over. I actually did a live cast from the show, which was really cool. The guys from VG Gaming were hanging out. I got to meet Greg and the others. They're awesome people. If you've never been onto the Victorious Gaming website or ever done any of their tournaments, go to them, go see them. They're an awesome organization. They bought me beer. Can't beat that.
They're pretty cool. I'm actually going to be starting to shoutcast with them in a little bit. And me and Pone were actually hanging out this weekend and got really drunk and shoutcasted one of the tournament finals on Friday night. It didn't go exactly according to plan, considering we didn't know we weren't streaming at one point, and then we didn't know the audio wasn't working. But the synergy was great.
So it was like one of our podcasts when we have audio issues.
Yeah. Yep.
And for all of those people who might think like, oh, if you're in the podcast, you're probably just in this cool group. You get like betting and emails back and forth. That's awesome. I couldn't even get into the games that they were playing on their drunk LAN party. I'm sitting there like messaging them and being like, oh, hey, invite me. And they're just like, nope, full. Get out of here.
Yeah, well, Cheer Jaden was there with us too, and we were just, yeah. I'm doing this for you guys. This is happening right now. And my liver's already crying. Just more beer, considering the fact of how much we drank this whole weekend.
I'm keeping it festive with Sassy Rabbit.
Ooh, nice.
That was in my Easter basket this morning.
I am enjoying the taste of classic Coca-Cola.
Is it the sugar one, or is it like the one that's not made?
It is not the pure cane sugar.
The pure cane sugar ones are the best.
But it is
I just
delicious.
discovered that in Mountain Dew form, and it's dangerous.
By the way, Coca-Cola, I am available for sponsorships. And,
Well, let's actually talk about the LCS.
A lot
There's
of
a
stuff.
lot to talk about with playoffs right now.
Let's hit it from the top down. Let's talk about the two winners of all, if you will.
Two All-Star
We have
representatives.
The two
Yes.
All-Star representatives. We have Cloud9 and we have I want to say Fnatic. It's
Our
honestly-
boys in black and yellow.
It's been so long. I can't even I wasn't even thinking about it. Like, oh shit. I watched the games, but I'm like, who won that after a while? Which I find this hilarious now because with the All-Star voting, you now have the 1 and 2 proper on the NA side. Those are the people who are going to the All-Stars as players, as individuals. But you have to take the 3rd and the 4th person because the top 2 on EU ended up going.
voting.
Yeah.
Well,
the top 2
whatchamacallit?
were both on Fnatic.
I thought the top 2 were Reckless and Diamond Prox.
No,
It's Reckless and
Xpeke or somebody.
Xpeke.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
Xpeke
Becky
shot that.
past Diamond Prox.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Doesn't
no,
matter
it's
now.
it's Diamond and Froggen going.
Okay.
So Gambit and Alliance, both super underperforming teams, which shows you the power, I guess, of having fans like TSM,
and you
who
can
get
see that a lot-
constantly put down.
You can see that fan thing a lot more in the Asian scenes, considering every other scene besides North America and Europe sent 2 players from the same team, with CJ Frost having Cheyenne Mad Life, Saigon Jokers had 2 people from their team, and then
World Elite had Xiaomei
World Elite had-
and someone else guy.
Xiaomei and Wei Zhao.
Yeah. That
So-
was incredibly... And it wasn't even close. Like, Xiaomei got, over a million... Like, it was,
It was stupid.
hundreds of thousands of votes higher than the
I
next
was about to
person.
say 1 million. Jesus.
It was
No,
like...
it was a
There was
lot.
there was
I'm gonna try
a
to pull it up.
ridiculous amount of votes. It wasn't even close. Like, I want to say Xiaomei won by 500,000 votes.
That's ridiculous.
I'm gonna try to see if
That's
I can
pretty
find
crazy.
the numbers because it
Yeah.
was ridiculous. So they have everyone all put together for the all the players that they're going are all known because
Yeah.
OMG locked up their spot from LPL. Taipei Assassins locked up the Southeast Asia spot, and of course SKT1 Art was already going.
Right.
Despite getting knocked out this week by Ozone.
Yeah, that's actually pretty big. How both Samsung teams have advanced in
Yep.
OGN,
And they're playing each other in the semis.
they are, which is a little disheartening. But I don't know. I think Ozone's got that one. Ozone are they've been more of a team together, whereas I feel like Samsung Blue is kind of like individuals performing extremely well, also being on the same team. It's like a TSM versus Cloud9 situation.
How do you guys feel about the competitive level of when these 2 brother and sister teams basically go against each other like that? Is that a more intense competition, or is it not so much because they're, sort of in the same organization?
Well, they play each other a lot with the scrims. Like I know a lot of the Cloud9 scrims with each of their sister teams.
Yeah, but those are scrims. This is
Yeah, I know, but that's when they finally get to show exactly what they want to do, as opposed to I don't know. I mean, it's different because with C9 or with the North American European teams, you can't have your sister team playing against you in real competition. Whereas this one, in this situation, you have in Korea, you can have that sister team battle in. You saw it with SKT playing their sister team in the group stages. And I guess we have it again coming up in semis.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree that the work ethic in Korea, it's always like, just because your brother and sister team doesn't mean that when you play against each other, it's just all laughs and fun. It's you want to be the favorite son of the organization. So when those 2 teams go up against each other, it's going to be no holds barred because A, they know what each other are capable of doing, and B, they know how to react to it very, very well. So those are going to be the games you want to watch.
Also, you could have I forgot to mention, Frost and Blaze haven't played each other a billion times in competition, so that's the one that really comes to mind.
Well, I have to cue into that scene more. I really
It's difficult to watch.
I have such a limited schedule when it comes to actually being able to fully absorb a game. You can watch a game. You can watch a lot of games, but to actually pay attention to a game and figure out what's going on past what the color commentators are saying, it takes a lot of time. It's a lot of time and effort. When you're playing WildStar in the background and you're trying to figure out why TSM is just getting beaten to death, you just...
And why you're going to cry into a pillow. The other fun thing we get to see this week, thinking of that sister team battle, is KT Bullets and Arrows could both be going through to semis if they end up winning their respective quarterfinal matches. But
It's going to take a miracle for KT Bullets, to be honest. They are not...
Really?
Like,
they're not playing real well right now.
KT Bullets, actually, if you tuned into Masters last night, it was KT going up against CJ, which is another huge rivalry. It was Blaze against Bullets. And normally that rivalry goes, Bullets try something goofy, Blaze runs around in circles getting flame farmed up and hoping they could come back at them at the end of the game. And then KT Bullets usually throw the game somehow because Blaze is more a cohesive team. But I feel like they were saying the record between the two teams is like 18-4 in favor of the Bullets. So KT Bullets were playing that matchup and they just dominated Blaze. Flame was playing Renekton, and it looked like Dyrus earlier today playing Renekton. He just could not get the ball rolling and had no game impact whatsoever. So, as I say, the Bullets have been looking weaker as of recently, but if they can show up like that against a this is how we play kind of team, they have a decent chance, but I think they're still the underdogs no matter where you rank them.
I mean, they did actually beat CJ Frost in the second game there, too.
Yeah, they wound up... Well, they switched out. They had Someday and Cacao, because it's Masters. If you guys don't know what OG and Masters... Yeah, Club Masters or SKT Masters is... You have the organization with two sister teams, so Blaze and Frost, Bullets and Arrows, T1K and T1S. They play a matchup against the other brother-sister organization. So you have, like, Blaze against KTB, and then Frost against KTA, and then the Masters match, the third match for points, because it's the same kind of system. A 3-0 is more than a 2-1, and et cetera, with the points value.
You get the differential. You get the different... Oh.
Yeah. So you wind up having the opportunity to field one of the rosters you already played with, or mixing and matching the team. So the KT team was the top lane and the jungler from KT Arrows, and then the mid lane and bottom lane from KT Bullets, and, well...
They crushed.
They crushed, yeah.
So that'll be fun. I mean, I didn't mean to spend so much time on Korea when we have so much else to talk about.
No, and that's okay, because I feel like we probably should highlight the teams that are just going to stomp over everybody over the All-Stars.
Come Worlds.
And
just All-Stars, I'm going to give you that. I mean, so the All-Star, the actual game format, how is that running down?
Which one?
The schedule's already released. So the actual, the All-Star, like the teams, the number one teams in each area. Is that
format released?
What's that? Yeah, it is. We have, let's see.
It's round robin is the only thing I think we know.
Well, no, actually, we know quite a bit. Thursday, day one, we have, starts out with the All-Star Challenge, actually on every day. But we have Europe versus China, Korea versus Southeast Asia, Europe versus North America, Southeast Asia on China, and North America on Korea. I could go through. Hot. Yeah, I could go through on all of them, but
what time do those start every day?
Early.
6 a.m.
Wow.
Pacific.
Wait, that's for the challenges though, right?
PTD.
It'll be the challenges first and then the all-star matches.
Yeah, this is going to be a watch it from home, kids, on your own good time. You're not going to be catching any of this stuff live unless you're a maniac.
Yeah, no thanks.
They released the second format for the challenge.
Yes,
we should note to everyone who's listening, there's the All-Star Challenge, which is the people who got voted in, and the All-Star Invitational, which is the top teams from each region. And so they're playing
it's a
around.
Terrible idea.
So, what do you mean?
Oh, I agree with Greg. I don't like the format.
Oh, the format's crazy because they said Earth mode and you can vote on a champion that has to be played by both teams, or two champions that have to be played by both teams.
It sounds like a desperate attempt to have some kind of interactivity thing.
Well, yeah, they want to have
failing so hard.
And then they have then they released the Hexakill one last week where you can vote in the two
old
former players, which is I think it's pretty much Toys and Messiah are getting voted in.
Yeah, there's no way.
Massive voting.
There's no way it's not Toys and Messiah. Like, Jat, okay, maybe he'll get a lot of NA and EU votes.
Shushei.
Nobody's
Shushei
gonna
was
vote
the
for
one?
Shushei unless Shushei was going to cosplay Gragas again, which would be hilarious.
Is he playing anymore? There's no
No,
way.
I don't think so.
I don't
And
think
then
so.
there was Reapered, and Reapered would have
He could've
been
got
really
voted.
cool
Yeah.
to see. But are you gonna want to watch Reapered? Or are you gonna want to watch Messiah and Toys, who are like the two best mid laners to ever grace the planet Earth? Come on.
Yep.
I want to see these text to kill games go down because I want to see if they're going to take like a normal approach to it, like, hey, this is a real game, this is structured, or are they just gonna fuck around like it's a nerf mode and just
Better
go,
fuck around. They better do some. They better go for some crazy plays because
It all
that's what I want to
depends.
see.
It actually all depends because if you look at it, we have a mid laner and an AD carry from North America, a jungler and a mid laner from Europe, a top laner and an AD carry from China. I think it's an AD carry and a jungler from Southeast Asia, and then from you have a support and a top laner from Korea. So you have all these solo laners and like 2 AD carries and 1 support. Oh, and you're gonna probably throw 2 more mid laners in there from the vote in. You're gonna have so many mid laners. You're gonna get like, I can't wait. You're gonna have like Messiah support Twisted Fate, which is amazing. You're gonna wind up having like Diamond Procs not jungling, but just running around as like season 1 support Alistar. Like, I would
Wait, is
love
support
to see that.
seriously? Is support TF a thing? Because that does sound actually pretty cool.
it could
Support-
be pretty
Support Twisted Fate is less of a thing, sadly, than support Vel'Koz and support Malphite are.
Ugh.
good. I hate Vel'Koz. The only thing that's cool about Vel'Koz is his
Ultimate.
no, his skin. That makes
His
him
skin is awesome.
that makes
the
him look like
Battlecast?
one of the things from the Matrix.
Matrix, yeah.
That was pretty awesome.
I like the idea of his ult, but his passive just does not feel rewarding for procking.
I haven't played him at all.
Unless you play him as support, because then that passive deals a ridiculous amount of damage from the support role.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's kind of weird keeping. You have to auto attack to keep the stacks on if you're not going to pop it immediately. But
Yeah.
again, I have not played it. I played against him maybe once.
We
All
should
I'm
probably
saying-
move on.
All I'm saying is support Victor.
Ha!
Yeah, if we were
Actually, I would
if we were the
not-
Trinity Force podcast, I'd go into Victor and how he deserves trinket items and not like Rengar gets. But
So before you become my favorite person in the world, let's talk about playoffs.
let's talk about playoffs. Let's start with the most obvious terms of sadness. I have a question for you guys, and I want you to answer this for me. And I want you to maybe think about it for a little bit before you answer it.
I'm gonna blurt out the first thing that comes to my mind. Let's go.
And I already
You sound
know
like, you sound
what
like
it
a teacher right now.
is. Is C9 really good, or is TSM just really bad?
NA's not good.
You would. You would. That's what exactly the response I expected.
So this is my thought process, so everybody can kind of gather their thoughts. This is my short version of why I think NA is best. So Cloud9, when you look at Cloud9, and this is what the commentators and the fans and everybody have said, you look at Cloud9 minus Meteos, and everybody on that list you would not think is your top 3 AD carry. Like if you said top 80 carries in North America, people go double lift, and they go Wild Turtle.
Finally got a pentakill,
They-
which is
yeah,
awesome.
finally.
Both of them did. No,
They
sorry.
don't-
That was Beard.
They don't go sneaky because nobody thought of sneaky. When you think of it, the same thing, like Ballsy's a top laner, but everybody's like, oh, Dyrus is really good, or Zion Spartan, or something, some other
I think
name.
that's the strength of Cloud9 in a lot of ways. Though.
Exactly. They are individually good, but not like first place in their position. But
They're
when you
cohesive.
put them all together, they just come together so nicely. They
Yeah.
are one of the best teams. Like they don't have individual star players. They're not a franchise built on star power with people to support that player. Each single one of those people is capable of carrying a game when the team needs them to, because they'll just get the kills in team fights. We've seen Meteos do it. We saw Sneaky do it. We even saw High do it when High is probably not, I wouldn't even consider High top 3 mid laners in North America right now. No offense to him because he's an awesome guy and he's extremely good at what he does. but he does it for the team, and the stats don't really show that frequently. But when you put Cloud9 in a circumstance against the rest of the world, guess what? Everybody else in the world stage has been doing that for a while, and this is the first team we've seen do it consistently in NA.
I just can't look at that game, and if you haven't watched that game yet, spoiler alert, TSM total kill, 3 games across. What was it? It was like maybe...
Was it double digits?
No,
I don't think
I
it
doubt
was.
it. I very highly doubt that. I'm going to tell you in just 2 seconds.
It might not have even broken 6.
Okay, game 1, 1 kill, Wild Turtle on Corky. Game 2, a kill on Dyrus, the odd one, and Bjergsen. So we're up to a total of 5 now.
4.
Game 3,
We'll teach him how to math later.
6 kills.
I called it. No, wait, no, I didn't call
is
it.
it
'cause he
10
did math
total?
wrong.
No. It's 6. I was
6
doing
kills.
I was doing a cumulative, not.
Okay.
I went 1. It's 1, 4, and 1.
6 kills.
6 kills.
If you
Yeah.
want to ask me about what the problem is in those games, it boils down to the fact that the one lane that TSM had doing well was playing a role that needs another lane to carry. And I'm going to focus down on a character that I really like in the mid lane, but I don't think works with TSM's playstyle, and that's Karma. When you ask people about mid lane matchups right now, Soraka and Lulu are extremely popular. They're supportive mid laners that can supplement another carry on their team, but also have a decent amount of burst damage or sustained damage throughout the team fight themselves. They have ways to kill people, and they have ways to keep people alive on their team if that's the role they have to fulfill. In comes Karma, who you would think could do that as well. She has a ton of upfront damage. Her lack of an ultimate gives her naturally more damaging spell set. The only problem is, and I think it stems from the lack of her ultimate, when you're put in a position where Bjergsen is the person that carries TSM through the mid into the late game, and he is playing a character that needs either Dyrus on somebody very hyperscaling into the late game top lane, or Wild Turtle on somebody that can dish out damage in team fights, it doesn't work out. Karma can put out a lot of damage going into the mid game, and come late game, yeah, she hurts, but her consistent DPS output in fights is nowhere near Soraka and Lulu. And that's what makes her fall off, and that's why you need another character to carry with her. That's why I play her in solo queue, because I suck at carrying, but if I can help my AD carry win team fights, it all works out for us. That's why she's an extremely good support, but I'm not convinced at her competitive level in the mid lane.
I like
I don't
how
know.
they.
I sort of had the opposite view on that. I was a bit impressed, especially with the pentakill coming off on her. Her cooldown on her Q, which is an extremely damaging ability once you stack some AP on it, it's deceptively low. Like, you can throw out massive AoE damage with decent range and sometimes a slow and a zoning effect on it, like every couple seconds. That's pretty strong when you combine it with her other, like her speed up ability. She's got shields. There's a lot of utility to her, but again, you can build on that utility while, again, putting lots of damage in a rapid-fire AoE, a little like Zig's bouncing bomb in a lot of ways.
The only problem I have is, I'm sorry to cut you off real quick, but
cool.
if you were to give Bjergsen Orianna in that circumstance, what does Karma do that Orianna can't do unless of a cooldown? Because even though the Q from Karma is extremely good, and one of the big things that makes her strong is how much damage she could deal with the lack of an ultimate, that ultimate is going to be up once, maybe twice in a team fight. Whereas with Orianna, the rest of her skills after the ultimate and the synergy you get from those, it just seems like she's such more effective after using that cooldown. Like, Orianna can carry a game, but Karma can't.
You got a good point. Orianna has a lot of the same stuff in the kit. I think the only thing that would sort of go in Karma's favor is that she does have a hard non-ultimate CC with the tether. But that's, like I said, that's really minor. If you want to talk Bjergsen specifically, I don't know why he's playing anything except Assassins, because that's so much more his play style and plays to his strengths.
I mean,
He's not the utility mid laner. He's just not. He's an all-star, explode the enemy team, make a big play mid laner, and he just wasn't doing that.
I hear what you guys are saying, I really do. Bjergsen wasn't the reason they lost.
Oh no.
That was the worst you could have imagined out of the number 2 team in the NA. The number 2 team. The team that gave C9 a reason to play throughout the entire LCS. The only people who were actually able to, at any one point, contend with them in at least the ability to win. And they got stomped. They got destroyed.
So, who do you think is at fault? Because I have a theory.
Well, there's
TSM.
Yeah.
That's who's at fault.
The point that Tom made earlier about you need somebody carrying. You look at what did Dyrus pick? He had Lee Sin and Renekton twice, both champions that are very good early and fall off a little bit. Who's going to be doing the damage? Like you can use that utility to help them out to get them in, get them out of fights from the Karma, but who's doing damage? Like you said, Corki has. I don't think of him as a hyper carry. Neither do I think Graves is, which are the other two the AD carries that Wild Turtle played. So I just don't know where they were thinking damage was going to be coming from.
Every single one of their characters had a giant power spike in the mid game. A 18-20 minute dragon fight is what TSM wanted to build for. And I'm going to get a little hypercritical right now. Like, obviously, preface is I'm not as good at these players as the game. I'm just looking at it from a third person point of view, kind of in retrospect a little bit. So I know I'm going to get hate from TSM fans, but it's what I do for a living. So Dyrus's Lee Sin and Renekton were not impressive. They did not have the proper cohesion with the composition they were running to take advantages of power spikes. You think of Graves. He's extremely bursty, super strong in lane, and then slowly falls off until maybe you get like 6 items on him where he becomes a duelist god. Corki, you build a Trinity Force. What does Trinity Force do? It gives you a burst of damage.
Tons of damage.
Yeah, tons of damage.
Tons of
Corki
burst.
is a very bursty AD carry based off of Trinity Force procs and the fact that he's a spell-based AD carry. Karma and whoever you have in the support position are going to supplement that. And then you have the odd one running Xin Zhao. You know, Xin Zhao, who's known for like level 2 and 3 ganks and getting things going in the early game. They never capitalized on their early to mid-game centric team. So by the time Cloud9's better scaling picks got to that mid-game team fight, Cloud9 are a better rotating team than TSM. TSM may be a great dragon fighting team, but Cloud9 ran circles around them to the point where the gold differential was so far, even when Odd One was stealing those dragons in the games, the gold counts were even at best for TSM. They just never hit the power spike properly they needed to in those team compositions, and Cloud9 ran away with the game because of it.
TSM just wasn't able to keep up. And the commentators sort of made mention to it at the end, but it was pretty apparent very early on in the games, and I believe I mentioned it in one of the earlier casts. Cloud9's style is they always have a forked path decision-making process. If this happens, we do this. If this happens, we do this. And they execute those decisions without any hesitation. And you saw this big time in the TSM game. Oh, they stole the dragon? We engage in a team fight. Or they're doing dragon, so we'll go take this tower over here. And if they don't, go where we want them to go, then we'll go and switch and teleport or do whatever and take another objective somewhere else. Whatever TSM was doing, Cloud9 was always doing something else in reaction, and TSM was just flat-footed.
See, I think TSM's problem is an emotional one. It's not one of mechanics or being able to do, the execution of a strategy or being able to play a champion well or not. I think they have an ego problem,
Dyrus.
and I think they have an emotional problem. I think they go into every game thinking we're TSM. We're number 1, number 2 at worst in the NA. And we have a strategy. Here it is. This is the strategy we're going to use. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, and if they get down, and if they're out, they're gone. And I think that's what happened. I think in the first game, they came through with the strategy. C9 adapted to it. C9 crushed them. The second game was really their only chance at redemption. That's the one thing they needed, is they needed a win. to be able to offset that, and they couldn't do it. They didn't even come close to doing it. And then Game 3 was just a walk. I mean, you even saw it in Game 3. It was right after a broken dragon fight. TSM goes back towards base, trying to disengage from it. Dyrus just goes straight in for the three of them, or for the whole group of C9, while everybody else is walking away. And then, like, 3 or 4 seconds later, TSM goes, oh, Dyrus went in. Let's all come back in to help him.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets picked off so easily. And it's just, I even think they got aced at that point. I've seen better plays in normal queues. Like, it wasn't, it was TSM being too overconfident in themselves, overconfident in this same strategy they tried to apply to every game, and it just didn't work out. I think if you look at any of those players as individuals or as pairs, in the case of Wild Turtle and Xpecial, they would be able to go toe-to-toe with any member of C9, but you put them in the TSM mentality and with the TSM blinders on, and you get a team that loses horribly. And it makes me sad to hear TSM fans in the crowd over chanting the C9 fans when all the C9 fans have to do is chant scoreboard. That's all they have to do, and that says enough.
I think a lot of the attitude problem comes from Dyrus, and a lot of the lack of early game aggression comes from Odd One. Odd One was just seemed off, and it's not the first game where I've noticed that. Like, if you take...
seem odd.
Yes. He seemed the normal one. The plain one. So he would, like, especially the game 2, where they were just ganking top lane mercilessly. Dyrus got buried on Renekton. And was Odd One up there to counter gank? Not too much. And the third game, Dyrus was sort of, I guess, on tilt because he was losing against the Jack straight up. It probably wouldn't have taken much to get that lane back into his favor and thereby, stall that Jack's late game craziness that turned out to be huge later on in the game. But Odd One wasn't doing that either.
I think we should get on to a few other of the series because we've talked. I think we've talked a little bit of TSM C9 to death.
Yeah.
The one thing
there were a lot of games that happened this weekend.
The one thing I do want to add as a closing note is the guy in the top lane who in the beta was named I Play Jax on the team let the enemy team get a last round pick Jax like twice. That I don't understand.
Actually, I think I recalled the casters saying you can't just let them get Jax and Evelyn, their favorite picks.
And they did.
And they got Jax and Evelyn.
Do you guys want to transition from how poor TSM did and how great C9 is to how poor SK did and how great Fnatic is?
I do want to touch on one thing before we go to EU. And I wish I still had some Cadbury eggs somewhere to shove in someone's face, but CLG got third, and they looked good in those matches.
No, CLG earned my respect. CLG earned my respect. They really did. I loved them.
But not a top 2 team, Double Lift.
I don't care.
Sorry, buddy.
I don't care.
He's going to All-Stars. He gets to go to Paris.
CLG impressed me. CLG said, we are still a super strong team, and we're great, and you should love us. And they destroyed Curse, which, hats off,
That makes you
guys.
happy.
You did great. And I'm pretty sure Saint Vicious watches the TForce podcast, because he definitely made the same plant pun that
that Dom and them did when they're talking about Zyra.
Yeah, I heard that, and I was like,
You get to plant
really,
a scene and it'll grow.
Saint Vicious joke.
I just listened to that. I listened to that on the drive back here today. So
God, I hated Saint Vicious on that stream. I was just glad that his team won.
I think
lost,
Saint
rather.
did pretty damn good job on the analyst test, though. He broke things down only the way a player could, which is something we've gotten a little bit used to in EU because we've had Crepo gracing the analyst desk, or we've had Deficio. And even though Kobe and Jat used to be players, it's been a little while since they've been in the actual game. Mm-hmm. So you get a you get a fresh perspective. I'm not going to say to challenge them because it's not like they're fighting for who's right and who's not, but it like revitalizes them. You saw Kobe after Saint would say something. Kobe looked like a kid in a candy shop. He was like, and then this happened, and then this. It was so great to like revitalize that analyst desk. I think he did a really great job.
And I love it. I actually, I will give Saint that, because then you flip it over to the interviews with the entire C9 team. And I feel like Cloud9, even though they're great players, they're the people who you expect to play video games professionally. Like, they are the biggest, and I'm right there with them. This isn't a diss, but they are the nerdiest motherfuckers ever. It's just...
we can't all be Snoopy.
The best... The best
but if we
is
could.
the confetti. The confetti, by the way, which did more damage than TSM could. The confetti celebration at the end, as they're all just sitting there like, yes, we did win that game. That was significant. We get to go to Paris. That's quite interesting. And like golden confetti is falling all over them. Their first interview in the LCS was the best, and if you've never watched that,
Oh, the Lemonation Balls interview.
go back and watch that interview. It is the most awkward thing ever. It was perfect. It was beautiful.
Between that recurring Balls smirking gif and Lemonation contemplating suicide, it was definitely a great interview.
Not
Yeah,
literally, right?
That's the highlight of it. It's the
Yeah,
most awkward interview, right up to and including a failed suicide joke and a 30-second awkward pause after.
I just loved how they were like trying to correct each other. And they were like, no, like live, just like talking over each other. And it was just, it was that awkward cringe where you're like, yes, I am watching a video game of professional people. Like, people like Scara and even Saint Vicious, whatever, I'll give it to them. They've got a decent level of charisma. They need to up their charisma points.
He was surprisingly sober. I'm used to seeing him stream drunk, so seeing him on the analyst desk and coherent was fun and different.
Yes. We won't give him too much credit, because that would just be silly.
He looks better in a suit than a Curse uniform. I'll give him that.
Very true. Very true. Oh,
Let's talk about EU, because I love EU.
Fnatic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pee, so you guys can take. I've had so much beer.
I don't know if that's I drank too much or I'm going to piss on this subject because I got my predictions wrong.
Or he's going to cry about TFM a bit
Okay,
more.
hold on. If we're gonna be talking about wrong predictions, Gambit Gaming, headphones down. I'll be back.
You can't drop that mic, unfortunately.
And by wrong predictions, I guess that means I'll step back from this one too, because it was 100% correct.
Oh man, okay. So all right, I guess what we should do is we should do like we did with NA, and we'll start from the top and trickle down to Gambit and Copenhagen Wolves, who
we never even got to any other like 3 matches from NA. But
well, I mean, with NA,
they weren't important. It went chalk. Everything went chalk there.
It went pretty straightforward for that. But okay, so the SK versus Fnatic series, 2 major things that it really proved to me. 1, Fnatic is the best League of Legends team when it comes to postseason play. And 2, when SK is not dictating the pace of a game, they do not know how to play. Very similar to Cloud9. Now, one of the key things in this matchup that I feel Fnatic played extremely well, during the picks and bans phase, first off, I feel like Fnatic had, despite SK having N-rated in a very solid picks and bans phase for the whole season, I think Fnatic outpicked and banned them. The first game specifically speaks out to me. They tried to make Xpeke uncomfortable and give Jesus something comfortable. So they first pick Orianna, and I believe they gave up Kha'Zix and a support or an AD carry or something like that. So they gave up powerful picks to get something secure for their mid laner to try to carry on. And he didn't do anything. I think that game he was like 1-2 and 1 on Orianna. And what Fnatic did was they knew that was going to happen. So they hampered Svenskeren. 3 out of the 4 buffs went to Fnatic early on. And Soaz on Lee Sin top lane, the way you're supposed to play it, post lane swap, waited for for the gank to come in, waited for top lane to get there, ganked for first blood, continued to pressure, and then teleported down when his lane was pushed to the tower because he knew he wasn't going to get anything out of that anyway. So Fnatic just controlled SK so well. They knew that they were going to try to get Jesus comfortable. They stopped that from happening. They stopped it by giving Svenskeren a hard time. Game number 3, the game that SK won, Svenskeren did great. The other 3 games, he was a non-factor. And Fnatic, they just read SK like a book that series. I think it was fantastic play by them.
If you're listening, if you're listening on podcast version, you have to come into the live chat. If only for the Twitch chat.
all I did was hold up a little troll doll, and it started a huge troll war essentially.
You invited the Troll King into Twitch chat. What do you expect?
I'm not gonna
Troll Chief.
I'm not gonna read the last thing that he said, but it made me laugh.
Oh, from troll.
It's definitely the hardest time something's given us since Wrecker's penis.
Oh, I don't know. That one was going.
Oh man,
that's what she said.
So have we talked? And I'm just getting back from a very lovely pee.
All I did was say how much I love Fnatic in that Fnatic versus SK
Okay,
series.
so we haven't talked about how Gambit Gaming is terrible.
No, because we're starting from the top and moving down.
Yes, we probably won't get to them because they're so low.
They lost.
Basically, how I feel about Gambit right now is they've been under a steady decline ever since I started watching, which is sort of the end of Season 3. So I don't think they're going to get relegated, but if they were to get relegated, I would not cry for them.
They can't.
Oh, yeah. That's right. They won that game.
They beat the Wolves. What happened was the Copenhagen Wolves came out with their, hey, look, we're Copenhagen Wolves, and we were the best amateur team coming into the spring split. And they stomped Gambit in Game 1. And then Game 2 came around, and they were like, Young Buck, you're on Rise. Do Rise things. And 52 minutes into the game, Young Buck still wasn't doing anything on Rise. And Genja got a pentakill because he went Bloodthirster, Phantom Dancer, Last Whisper, instead of building Brutalizer, Zephyr, Infinity Edge, whatever the hell he builds. He gets a pentakill. And then the next game, it's all about the fact that Copenhagen Wolves got kills in the early game, and the way that the game moves right now, mid-game dragons are way more beneficial than getting first blood and a couple kills in the first 10 minutes of a game. Gambit took those advantages in the mid-game. They had Diamond procs on Kha'Zix, as I recall correctly, and Alex Ich on Orianna went berserk. He was like, he had 100% kill participation and 1 death. He was like 8-0 and 13 or something like that. Or 8-1 and 13. Like, that was literally, Alex Ich sat there and was like, if I lose this game and get relegated, I have to go back to being a programmer for a lifetime because I have a wife and kid, and that shit is not gonna fly. And he played Orianna just like Bjergsen should have played earlier today, and he carried the shit out of that game for his team. Only he couldn't do it for the whole playoffs, so Gambit's in 5th place, sitting there like, what is problem with game? Why can we not do this earlier in tournament? And it's because for some god-awful reason, you guys are picking terribly. Your picks and bans phase has gone to shit. Alex is the only person getting something comfortable. I don't care if Volibear is cool. Don't play him. And Darian, do not play mages. Stick to building AP on champions that don't build AP like Renekton.
Hey, Tom, do you like Gambit at all?
I have to say
I'm
that
just a little curious.
Gambit is one of those teams that I always look at and I'm like, this is all right. I was a big Dota guy before League came out, so I always look at Gambit and I go, this is how a Dota team would play League. So there's always that soft spot in my heart for the fact that Gambit gets so aggressive at points that it's goofy, but the metagame just doesn't suit that right now. It just doesn't work.
I wanted them to get at least put into relegation because I honestly thought that if they got put into relegation, if they went all the way down to 6, that would at least put the fire back in their soul. Like, oh wow, hey, maybe something's going wrong here. Maybe we need to do better. than just okay. And let's fight. Let's make it interesting. Let's really get up there. I'm not that well versed with the EU Challenger Series, but I think they would have been able to make it out, and I think they would have been a contender in the summer split. I think sitting pretty at 5th place, they're just going to be another mediocre team. I don't think that they're going to get out of that. Who impressed me more this playoffs was Rockcat, because Rockcat came out and they were great. They were an awesome team, and people were like, holy shit, Rockcat, Overpow, cool, great, awesome. Rockcat came into this series after a lull of not doing too well, and everybody pointing up their guns, saying, myself included, saying Rockcat was just all hype, and they were good, but now people have their number, and they're just another EU team. But they performed really well. They even took SK to 3.
You've got a lot of love for the third-place teams. I'm noticing this trend.
They looked great this weekend, though. Like, Rocket and CLG both really impressed me. I had picked CLG to beat TSM, and they came about as close as you possibly could to actually pulling that off.
Unless you're Cloud9.
I am not kind of rolling his eyes a little bit on that one. But, I mean, they played really well. Taking SK to 3 is good. I don't know. I think they're going to be really strong next split, too.
I think their other team members stepped up. I think it wasn't just an Overpow show. I think it was a team effort that did really well. I mean, a 9-0 and 8 Jankas on that's just delicious. That's what you should be at if you're going to be a great team. And I think Rockcat has the ability and the gusto, if you will, to be a great team that contends. They went through a lull. I don't think that lull's going to happen in the summer split. I think the summer split's going to be much more interesting.
The thing that really impressed me is looking at the historic stats for when Rockcat has played the top 3 teams and the lower tier teams in EU, their play styles were hugely different. Against the lower teams, where you could, Rockcat would probably go into this on, they have a little bit of an ego to themselves sometimes. So they would go into a game against a lower ranked team, and they would pick things. That's where they pick their Mordekaiser. That's where they pick their Riven mid. That's where they pick their goofy kind of things. They kind of have fun with it. And that's where Jankos was performing. He was playing a greedier style of jungle. He was securing more buffs for himself, and he was getting ridiculous KDAs on his Elise and all the champions that he could get. When they played the top tier teams, he was being targeted and banned out and forced onto composition picks, and he was not taking buffs. He was giving them the Overpow. Overpow was trying to farm and get to a point where he could carry the game, and it wasn't working. In the playoffs, Jankos went back to playing almost nothing but Elise. He went back to taking almost all of the buffs for his team and giving Overpow the enemy buffs. What happened? They stumped everybody but SK.
And with SK, it was close.
It was pretty close. I was a little upset about those games just because I think comparatively, if you look at Rockat's playoff run, those games were extremely disappointing. Rocket went 5-3. Every single they won 2 games in both the series and lost 0 that they won. And then they lost 2 games to SK. And I feel like against SK, it was one of those situations where they start out strong and they kind of puttered or something. But then all of a sudden it was like they got a second breath of fresh air in the 3rd place game against Alliance when, to be honest, it doesn't matter as much.
Hey, that $5,000 is a big deal. I mean, it's nice. I'm not going to complain.
It would be $5,000 is a huge deal, except for when you split it between a coach, a manager, 5 players, and sponsor.
I feel like $5,000 at this point, given the way that the team structure meta, $5,000 is the ability to bring on somebody else for a little bit and hope that your sponsors take it. Speaking of sponsorship, I'm going to be really pumped if either Team Coast or Cloud9 on the EU Challenger Series make it into the EU LCS. That will be great just because we'll be talking about multiple Team Coasts and multiple Cloud9s. That would be great.
Well, Coast can't make it in.
Yeah, Coast can't make it in. Cloud9 and Clips has a shot.
And I mean, Cloud9 Tempest might they have to change their name and stuff. They have to leave Cloud9.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
So we actually talked about this a little bit last week.
not gonna
Well, you
watch.
guys, yeah, no, I mean, not that you need to go back and listen to that shit show, but
When you get apology emails like, "Hey, sorry, you have to clean that up for next week." That's an interesting.
I mean,
I did actually listen to a little bit of it. I think.
Okay.
I
but
think I
the
listened to the good part.
Yeah, the thing is, if C9 ends beating EG and getting in, they have to leave C9 sponsorship because they have one team per LCS rule. You can't. I don't know who they go. They could go to another. We were saying we didn't know if people might jump. Like, let's say EG gets knocked out, which is, I mean, is a big esports organization. So they might pick up another team like Cloud9 Tempest, which would be kind of funny if they. It's funny if they won the sponsorship over just by taking out the former team, but that'll be interesting next weekend.
I'm not paying attention like I should be. Who on the NA side is going into relegation now?
It is XDG, Coast, and Evil Geniuses.
And we already know the schedule too for those games next weekend.
Did they publish that?
It was actually right after the finals. They showed it. I don't know if it was posted beforehand, but you've got it. It's pretty obvious though. Coast is playing Complexity Black, EG is playing C9 Tempest, and then XCG is playing LMQ. And then European side we have Millennium against Ninjas in Pajamas, Super Hot Crew versus Cloud9 Eclipse, and Wolves versus Denial. So we have a lot of time to bet more mystery skins.
Yep.
I don't know. I think that we could talk that to death too if who's going to make it in, but I think that there's going to be a lot of shakeups.
I hope
after
so.
next weekend. I like it. I like that better. You get to see more players. You get to see different teams make it in, and it makes it worthwhile. It makes it a lot more confidence for teams who are going through Challenger Series to say, "Hey, we can really do this."
Any argument that LMQ will be in the summer split against it? I suppose, because I think they will be.
I think they likely will be, but I don't think it's going to be as much of a stomp as everyone seems to think.
I disagree. I think what's really exciting is they bring a different place. I'm trying to find the very specific wording I want to go with this. I think they bring a very specific play style and a very specific I don't know. I can't find the words right now, but I think it's only going to benefit NA, the North American scene, because they're going to come in, they're going to dominate, they're going to do really well the first couple of weeks, and then teams will realize that and adapt. And every time a team comes in and anybody has to adapt to it, it strengthens your region, because now you have this new thing you need to tackle, and you're one step closer to not entirely losing in an international tournament scene.
I am going to go on the record for saying that XDG will win game 1 of that best of 5. Any game beyond that, I feel like could be a toss-up, but I feel like LMQ, from previous tournament performances, they are not a very good LAN team.
I will take a skin on that.
I cannot bet skins.
Well, on a certain game. Oh yeah.
Why not?
I cannot receive skins right now.
That's right.
Well, it's a good thing you lost your one bet then.
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, I'll take the skin bet anyway on
Actually,
that
it's
one.
not. Well, actually, you could just. Why don't you just lose all of yours? Because I bet you have a few riot points considering your employer.
Yeah, no, start a Smurf. Can you?
I do have a
are you
Smurf.
Are you allowed to do that? I'll bet with your Smurf.
The only
I can
issue
bet
is
on the
to gift. You have to be friends for 2 weeks, which is why I haven't been able to send mine to Dom yet.
Oh yeah, no, we have to do that.
The one thing I
I
do
have to
have to
remember
say,
to do that.
as
Afterwards, I'll bug you.
coming into the XDG LMQ matchup, the one thing that really troubles me is LMQ has a hard time with Team 8, who is not in the promotion tournament, and Cloud9 Tempest, who is in the promotion tournament, but arguably they have a different kind of mentality going into the EG matchup. But LMQ online, it looks so strong. on LAN, like, they are hit or miss. Like, to be completely honest, Vasily in one game goes 0-8, and then the next game goes 8-0. You need that sort of consistency in order to have a top performing team. And while that is something that will come with time on LAN, when your best of 5 decides absolutely everything, do I think XDG is going to outright beat LMQ? No. Do I think LMQ is going to outright beat XDG? No. LMQ could get into the LCS, but they are not this Chinese dominating powerhouse. Two things factor into that. One, the fact the only competition they've shown up against has been non-LCS caliber teams. And two, the Chinese playstyle of aggressive early game, snowballing an advantage, and taking a win before the 30-minute mark is their playstyle, is not as effective as it was last season, and is their bane. If you get a game against them with scaling late game champions, like if you put a Benny on a Rise or a Zuna on a Jinx, it doesn't matter how they position because they're still probably better than Youngbuck at it. I love Youngbuck, but his positioning in that Rise game was abysmal. But if you put them on one of these characters or you get them in a team composition that can fight around them, that still works. And when you get the rotations in the early game that shut down the LMQ aggression, that works. And LMQ is not a good team when they play from behind.
I'm still excited to see diversity.
Oh, yeah.
Pin it however you want.
I'm really excited to see subtitles every single week in the LCS.
How do you feel about international teams? And by international teams, I mean non-native North American teams being able to
non-native American teams.
being able to come into
if a Native American team comes in,
being able to come into the North American scene and play. I cite obviously LMQ and EG as examples.
I mean, it happened in StarCraft, and now we have our Korean representatives from every single region.
I don't really think StarCraft is legit, just by comparison. I mean, sure, you can look at it from an esports nature, but strictly speaking, League of Legends.
I think it's a little bit different, too, because in order to participate, they have to live in the region, which is a pretty big change for somebody who doesn't speak the language. So if you are willing to, like, not only that, but you're living here and sacrificing, 8 months or something like that, that's going to be LMQ being here by the time they potentially could be in the LCS, you're sacrificing, like, a whole year of your studies or your life to come and live in a foreign country to compete at something that you might not have a shot at getting into. Like, I have a certain respect for those teams. I think it might increase the diversity and the play level of the specific region by just bringing in a different style and a different point of view on things. But at the same time, part of me is kind of like, well, I could watch OGN if I wanted to watch OGN. I could watch EU or NA if I want to watch them. Like, I want to watch those teams. I mean, the way I look at it, they just become another NA team. I don't look at it as a Chinese team coming into NA. They're a different play style of NA team.
I mean, you had CLG going over to.
But...
I mean, we had this before too. This isn't something completely new when you think about CLG and CLG EU at the time going over to OGN during separate splits, but making that trip, competing in that region, and then obviously both of them went back to their own places. They did well. CLG EU almost won.
I think it's fine to do. Like Tom said, they have to move here. Yeah, that's a pretty big commitment. It's not like they can just go arbitrarily, well, we're a European team, but I guess we'll play in North America because we think it's easier. Well, they have to relocate. They have to,
that's my question,
integrate.
Why? Are you looking for the fan base? Are your sponsors
maybe they do
saying,
think they'll have a better shot? But that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I think it's nothing but healthy for the region, as long as it doesn't get to the point where teams can just cross between regions at will.
It doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
Like North American, that's not necessarily isn't. And we have a user question we received. We'll get into it, not this episode, but in the future, I'm sure. Yeah. Where they talked about spreading the NA love. I mean, the EU side. Where is actually the EU hub, if you will? North America is based out of LA, but where's the EU?
Cologne.
EU studios in Cologne, Germany.
Katowice.
No,
That
it's
for
not
some
in
reason
Katowice.
that hits me every time an
an
EU
awesome
caster
name.
says, "Cast your mind back to Katowice,
Katowice.
2007, where Xpeke did this." It just right
That'd be
through my
impressive
head.
considering League wasn't out in 2007.
Whatever, Tom. By the way, shout out to Hardcore Rar, who I don't even know who you are, sir or madam, but you just sent me a cursed beta key, so that's pretty neat. Even though I hate curse. Mitch, I am so sorry. I messed up. I just sent you two things. I sent you a mystery skin, which I sent you
Yeah, I
Officer. I sent you Officer Vi.
Vi. And Syndra.
I actually sent you a mystery champion.
Oh,
I mean,
Sorry.
I'm not going to really complain too much about that.
Until you get it in ARAM and have no idea what it does.
Oh, that's
She's
going to
pretty
be
good
great.
in ARAM, actually. She's pretty clutch.
I mean, I adopted a pretty interesting strategy the other night, which if Adam and Shiro listen to later, I tried out a new Karma, a roaming Karma at level 1, which also tried to jungle a little bit, and died 7 times, got 0 kills or assists, and unsurprisingly lost us the game. So don't drink and play Karma.
I'm trying
Don't
to
do
see
it.
if
Don't do it, guys. Just don't.
do I owe anybody else skins.
friends don't let fans pick Karma.
Oh no, I'm great. I'm really good with. I should say really good. I'm pretty good with her normally, but last night, not so much.
You know what I'm pretty upset about with this whole gambling thing? Nobody picked Coast in the CLG against Coast.
Are you surprised?
It's
No one
just-
picked hardly anything in NA because it was such an easy one to pick, and it ended
Yeah.
up being correct. The only one that was actually bet on a little bit was Curse Dignitas and CLG TSM, which
Yeah.
I assumed you were going to bet on that, and I even put you down and said I can't imagine Mott doesn't bet on this, and then you just never said anything. So
work got too busy, to be honest.
to open up a
So
duck.
am I all settled up now? Have I paid all
yeah.
my debts?
You owed 5, I think. I think you owed 1 in 5 for the weekend.
So the only person I don't think I can pay yet is Peter,
Yeah, since he's new.
and then I gave Adam his Rumble.
I'm so pissed about that one. But he played it. Oh my gosh, he played it the other day when I was up there, and he was garbage at Rumble. The ults went nowhere near the people he was trying to hit. He was all right with everything else, and actually did well and carried for a little bit. But the ults were hilarious. Like halfway across the lane, the other direction ult.
Yeah.
He's smart casting those ult, isn't he?
Yeah, I haven't actually tried. I just switched to quick cast on everything and haven't tried it yet. Tried to Rumble ult yet, but I'm scared to. I don't know how it works, so I just need to try it out once.
Yeah. Tom, I was gonna send you the summoner icons for who was it? It wasn't I had a good joke. I was gonna send you I think TSM icons or something like that. Whoever Gambit was beating. I was gonna lose to. I was gonna send you that.
I'm pretty sure I own all the summoner icons.
the
'cause I'm a
problem.
sucker
God
for
damn
package
it.
deals.
How much do they cost? I'm actually
It's
looking
like-
at that. I didn't even know about that. 250 to get the. Okay.
Or there was a bundle where it's like 2,000 for all 8 teams.
Yeah.
I do not see a point, but I also am rocking my summoner. Season
best-
3 bronze emblem while I'm plat now and trolling everyone.
The best point is at any given time I can switch to my MYM flare and no one else can argue with me.
Yeah. For those of you watching live, I'm gonna put. Oh wait, no,
You
these all
can't see it.
expired.
It's way too, and that's
Shit.
also really blurry. There
No,
was
they all
okay.
expired. I had
You didn't give us anything.
no, I
Didn't send
didn't.
us anything. You went there and didn't give even your co-hosts.
Nope, nothing. Actually,
know what they should
Nobody on the
do?
Trinity Force podcast got anything from me.
You know what they should do? You should follow the Trinity Force podcast on Twitter at TForce Podcast to potentially have a chance to win whatever skins we have.
They're expired.
They are expired.
About that.
not.
They extended them. It says they work till the end of April now. There is a tweet
Oh!
about it.
Well, maybe I'll share some of these. Except I think they're all dead. So.
I did not
Why-
get. Well, here's the thing. they work in every region. So if you've used them in NA, people in EU listening, or in Turkey, or in Korea, or whatever, think I don't even have that one.
This is the last. This is the last PAX specific thing that you can get, and it's a Riot.
Ward skin.
Yeah, it's a Riot Ward skin. It's the fist pump,
Oh,
fist
sweet.
pound.
Hey,
Skin.
Mott.
Yes.
I didn't check it before because I didn't look at stream. You can put my Twitter handle on there now.
Oh, I can, can't I? What is
Yeah.
it? As we
The
sign off.
yeah, I know, right? It's the @MitchChocolateChip.
That's right. We
Put it
are
in
on
the thread.
Twitter, by the way, all of us. We don't have a show official one because who does that for any
Because we have the
reason?
Trinity Force Podcast Hub at trinityforcepodcast.com, so you can keep up with your favorite podcasts in the Trinity Force network. Us here at the LCS TForce LCS rundown, the best one of the three. Our guys all the way down in Australia at the Oz LOL podcast, and of course the people who started it all and smell really funny and are bad at Rumble Ultimates over on the Trinity Force podcast proper.
I like calling them that. Trinity Force.
I like calling them the Trinity Force podcast
We
proper.
can't speak anymore.
Because I just imagine Dom in one of his vests as like the ambassador of the proper
I'm
Triforce
wearing a
podcast.
vest today.
Yeah, I know, but I don't
I
know.
have many vests.
I just imagine Dom with it. I guess it's because like I don't know. I've seen him wearing it longer.
They've been there for a while with, I don't know, 150 episodes or so.
Yeah, something highly ridiculous.
Are we up to double digits? We're almost there, I think.
I stopped, to be honest, if you noticed, first of all, I don't have an official copy of Photoshop on my computer. So I just, Adam keeps sending me the PSDs for the show skin, and I just deleted the episode number. And now I use the same one every time. So, I don't even know what episode number this is.
We are on episode of week 12, the LCS playoffs.
Spring Split 2014 playoffs. That's what episode we are, motherfucker.
Who needs
Although
numbers?
we will have to recalibrate when we find out what episode 100 is.
Mm-hmm.
I was sad because I never made it to that on the Instalock Mid podcast.
Oh,
We
shout
went-
out to Thaladan in the chat room for the fantastic reference.
Is he the one who said that your hair slick back makes his penis erect?
No, that was
Troll
King
King.
Troll.
That was Troll King, yeah.
That was the Troll King.
That
well.
was the Troll King. Okay.
Oh my.
How you've known we've reached the end of the podcast.
Yeah, when we start talking about our casters' erect penises. Oh, well.
So 12-0, hashtag the new streak.
You're like
Hashtag,
one
hashtag
shy
believe in
of
the
Cloud
shroom.
9.
Believe in the shroom.
You are one win away from tying Cloud 9's single split LCS record for wins.
Feels good.
I think, and we're going to call it now. Before we leave, we're going to go off the predictions. We have to go through the predictions and see who won that, points-wise.
I think we know who won, but who came in second place? Who is the TSM of the Triforce podcast? Let's figure that
It's
out.
not you.
I know it's not me.
Jesus
it's
Christ.
not.
Okay, so I went 8-4. Tom, you went 6-6 because you put all of your tokens in the Gambit bucket.
I did. I was
You know how that went.
either beating everybody or losing horribly. It's like I could have bet on Gambit and Coast, and I would have made out like a bandit, or I would have lost horribly.
Mitch went 7-5, and Greg fucking flawless victory with 12-0. Every single call right. Rain Man over there.
Adam
He looks-
Cole, baby.
Jesus
He looks like C9
Christ.
from Summer Split last year, where there was C9 and everyone else below them far behind because we were all garbage.
I'm like
Yeah.
Team Coast, baby. Let's go.
50%. I don't know about that for them. That's giving them a bit too much credit.
You know what though? How appropriate that you cover the European scene and you went fucking even.
And all of my wins came from the NAC. The only win I had was, I think it was Alliance beating Copenhagen Wolves and Fnatic beating Alliance, and that was it.
And you had the relegation. You had Wolves
Yeah.
going to relegation.
I had Wolves going.
You
around.
went 3-3 in each one.
Oh man, I am like super steady. It's because if I predicted anything good, it would probably the exact opposite would happen.
Yeah.
That's what you did with Gambit.
So
And
Oh.
overpower.
for the
I'm
summer
so bad.
for the summer split, by the way, here's how this is going to work.
Uh-oh.
We're going to do an actual point system draft. We're going
Oh, like
to
a fantasy draft?
No,
That
not a
sounds like
fantasy
work.
draft because that needs rules. What we're going to do is we're going to do two things, and get excited for this because this is going to be pretty cool.
Hype.
We're going to do, and don't be jinx. Get excited. We need to Claude. We need to import to Claude for a couple of episodes because his puns are way better. So we're going to sit in as soon as we get the full summer split schedule. We're going to sit down, and we're going to predict every win-loss.
Whoa. We're going to do that before the teams even play?
We're going to do two. We're going to do before, which is static, happens
And
before
during.
the first game is played, and then we're going to do week to week.
You realize what's going to happen. There's going to be one team in each region that I think is going to win, and they're going to get last place.
And Greg is going to win.
That's why I'm gonna Tom. I'm gonna ask for your predictions before I send in any of mine.
Yeah.
Just so I can pick
Just
that
be like,
team.
all right, what's Greg? What's
Well,
Tyler
they're
supporting?
losing every game.
To quote Alex Ich in his post-game interview, Gambit!
Oh, and that has been the Trinity Force podcast, TForce LCS rundown for this
Soviet
week.
Russia split pushes you. Oh.
They need to have a Vladimir Putin skin. I don't know how you're going to do that.
Vladimir?
Yeah,
do it with
Oh my God!
Yeah, with Vladimir, Vladimir Putin.
Why would you just not have Vladimir wearing a giant Russian hat? His name is
That's
Vladimir.
happening. That's happening. Somebody needs to make that right now. You could have the Vladimir, but no, Vladimir Putin is much better.
Yes, I love
Considering
it.
he rode the bear into a shirtless in that picture.
Oh.
Vladimir Putin, but it's actually a Sejuani skin.
So the best
that works
part,
too.
the best part about PAX, I've
You
decided.
get it?
Yeah.
The best part about PAX is definitely all of the board gaming companies that were there. I actually got to meet the creators of Cards Against Humanity, and they signed my
Yes.
official copy. The best, I was playing Cards Against Humanity with a group of friends of mine who were staying at Bridget and I's apartment this weekend. The black card, if you've never played Cards Against Humanity, it's apples to apples. Black cards have a sentence, an empty space. You have to fill it in with a verb or a noun from the white card. The black card said, instead of dropping food and water, the Americans dropped blank on Ethiopia. And the white card that won that round was the Wrath of Vladimir Putin.
Oh my god.
It was the fucking best. Tom, did you get a swag bag from PAX?
I got 0 swag from PAX that I did not draft from Wacky Drafts.
Here's the best part. In the swag bags, there were packages of oatmeal.
The
And
bone meal?
I watched people throw the oatmeal out. They were just like, fucking oatmeal? Like, what? There were Cards Against Humanity in the oatmeal.
Wait, really?
Yes. And they were PAX specific Cards Against Humanity.
No, those are the only
shit.
cards I'm missing from the set then.
You
Damn
know
it.
what they have?
What?
First of all, they give out Cards Against Humanity at every PAX. But the best card that I now have for Cards Against Humanity, and if we had more time on the stream, and if I had thought about it while I was peeing, I would have gotten this. It was a white card, and it was mistakenly hitting on a League of Legends statue. Which, if you've ever been to PAX or anywhere where they have the statues, the Katarina statue looks real, and you're like, "Wow, that's really good cosplay." No,
Goodness.
that's a statue.
I'm jealous.
It's awesome. It's so awesome. Well, that's it for us.
End on that.
That's it for us. Mistakenly hitting on a League of Legends statue.
Did you do
Hey,
that this
baby,
weekend? Oh,
why
no,
you
you're
being so
taken,
cold to
bad.
my advances? Because I'm a fucking statue.
I bought Frozen Heart.
Oh.
Your attack speed is reduced. I'm gonna